Welcome back to the Investing Thunderdome, everyone. Today I'm going to go over where Anavex Life Sciences is post-EMA denial, because a lot of things have happened in the past 2 weeks, and it appears that the investment thesis for the company is as strong as it has ever been. As always, these videos are for educational and entertainment purposes only. All opinions discussed in this video are my own and are not to be taken as investment advice. Always consult with a licensed professional before investing. Now let's get into today's video. What were the reasons for refusing market authorization? First, let's go over the denial. To get this reversed, Anavex was given the following 5 criteria. The drug only works in patients with sigma-1 gene, missed one of the 2 primary endpoints, the ADL miss, activities for daily living. The analysis had methodological issues which raised concerns about the validity of the results. Dropout rate was a concern for safety, and nitrosamine impurities. So, the fixes. First, we are going to go over issue number 5. Which according to CEO Christopher Missling, this issue has already been addressed. And the nitrosamine issue will not be a problem during the re-examination. Now, in the past few weeks, we have had 3 major developments that are going to have an impact on the success of re-examination. January 6th, Anavex announced that there could be a path forward with the FDA. January 8th, Anavex announced Dr. Wolfgang Liedtke as Senior VP of Global Head of Neurology. January 13th, Anavex's participation as a strategic partner in Access AD. I will quickly unpack these 3 news events and then go into why I believe Anavex has the best EMA odds of approval than they ever have. First, if Anavex submits an NDA to the FDA, this has major complications in Europe. It gives Alzheimer's Europe additional leverage in the conversation. Alzheimer's Europe will move to the position that blarcamesine is being approved by the FDA and that an EMA denial of the drug would be blocking access for European Alzheimer's patients. And that has both moral and ethical implications. Second, Dr. Liedtke's appointment at Anavex is a major development because of his stature. He is one of 3 subject matter experts for Davos that advise Davos on what can be done to help mitigate the Alzheimer's burden on both society and the overall healthcare system. Basically, he is who the elites turn to discuss Alzheimer's policy, which gives Anavex an immediate credibility bump. Anavex's partnership with Access AD and the European Commission developing this monitoring system helps get the EMA towards a yes. Now we are going to take a step backwards and go over the new reporters that are going to be assigned to Anavex for the reconsideration. These new reporters are expected to have expertise in CNS. We went onto the CHIMP website and used some AI softwares to help us get an understanding of the possible reporters that could be used for Anavex's appeal. It came up with 7 potential candidates that fit the bill. The ones we get will likely be based upon availability, so we had the AI look into a few things. The member's name, background and specialty, approval odds, and the reasoning behind the approval odds. And here's what it came up with. Feel free to pause and take a look at some of the names and analytics it was able to come up with and some of the reasons it factored into its decision. CEO Christopher Missling has requested a SAG, Scientific Advisory Group meeting as part of the re-exam process. This is to give Alzheimer's and other CNS experts as well as Alzheimer's Europe seats at the table for this discussion. Because Dr. Frederick Barkov is heading up Access AD and is the #1 Alzheimer's doctor in Europe, we wanted to look into how his presence could affect some of the members at the SAG meeting. Of the 10 members, it looks like his reputation is likely to carry some weight with at least 6 members of the SAG. The way the SAG meeting will work, if you are not aware, is that the CHIMP will ask the SAG a list of questions. They don't vote per se, but if they have a consensus on an answer, then this carries a lot of weight with the CHIMP committee and is listed in the reporter's final report. This list is very helpful because of some of the expertise of some of the people. For example, Dr. Kathleen Berlin develops tests to determine the decline of patients with AD. So she would be able to explain to the group why ADL is not a good measure and should not be used as an endpoint in early AD. Another person that could be important would be Francesco Di Lorenzo, because his expertise in imaging and understanding how measuring brain shrinkage and the importance of how such data can overcome the ADL miss. This is where having Dr. Barkov and Dr. Liedtke presenting in the meeting will add gravatos to the Anavex argument. The impact on the AI odds for these moves is staggering. Prior to these moves, the AI odds were at worst case scenario of 15 to 25% odds of approval. This seemed to be low because both mAbs were approved following the same roadmap. But the AI was promising it was taking this into consideration and it was still that bad. Next, we add the addition of Access AD, and the AI odds makers jump the odds for conditional approval on appeal to 60 to 70%, a major jump based upon the logic that the government is spending $37 million on a post-approval study, and this mitigates the risk of approving what has been deemed a strategic drug in Alzheimer's space. However, just like the old infomercials, wait, there's more. If Anavex can submit the FDA NDA before the CHIMP vote, the AI odds jump further to 75 to 85%. The logic here is that America is going to gain access to the drug, and the CHIMP denial is blocking access for a life-debilitating disease. Missed endpoints and dropout rates become moot. Finally, if Anavex has a big pharma partner, the AI odds jump to 85 to 95%. This is because Big Pharma has teams of people that specialize in dealing with drug approval processes, and the fact that a Big Pharma would partner on the drug further validates the platform. It's all about giving regulators that soft and fuzzy feeling they can only get from Big Pharma. Now let's move over to the FDA side of things. 70% of the global drug profits come from the United States. So this market is the real value driver for Anavex, even though Alzheimer's is such a big global healthcare problem. AI odds makers say if the FDA accepts the NDA from Anavex, that Anavex has a 60 to 70% odds of gaining FDA approval. If Anavex partners with Big Pharma, odds bump up to 85 to 90%. However, if Anavex partners before submitting the application, because Big Pharma can put a team of experts on the application, the odds increase to 90 to 95%. If the EMA grants conditional approval, the AI odds move to about 95%. Anavex is a company of about only 50 employees. Missling has not tried to build out a US or European sales force for the AD drug, and has stated in the past he doesn't have much interest in doing so anyway. Missling has talked about how BMS purchased Karuna Therapeutics for $14 billion for Cobenfy's schizophrenia drug. By mentioning this, Missling has essentially set the floor value for Anavex at $14 billion. So a sale of Anavex at less than this amount would seem highly unlikely. Additionally, Missling has talked about doing a partnership for AD, but keeping the smaller indications for just Anavex. This would be the path if he was trying to build a Regeneron one day. But gaining approval is one thing. You have to be able to sell the drug. Additionally, it makes sense to do a partnership right now because it helps the approval odds for the company. We estimate that if an NDA is submitted to the FDA, this will occur before the EMA appeal process has concluded. Anavex should be working around the clock to get this to occur because of how it would influence EMA approval odds. In turn, this would return the favor and boost FDA approval odds as well. So because of this compressed timeline, we expect that Anavex will spend its time at the JP Morgan conference to find a global partner that is the right match for the company so they can achieve this objective. We don't know the amount of the upfront payment, but we can suspect that Missling would want at least a few $100 million to continue running all the various trials that he probably already feels like he's behind on as it is. A partnership deal will be a major validating event for the Sigma 1 platform, and we could definitely expect the stock to trade a lot higher than it is today. But that's it for this episode. Thank you all for watching until the end. As always, if you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe so you see more of it. But until next time, this has been the Investing Thunderdome.